I want to bring just a quick word this morning from 2 Chronicles 22. I'm in the process of redoing my chart that I made up, I think it was in 2008, of the kings of Israel and Judah. It's on one page, a big, huge poster, where you can look at the kings of Judah and who was king in Israel at the same time, who were the prophets who were prophesying to these guys, who was the enemy that was attacking each, Judah or Israel. I like to see things all on one big page, so that's what I'm doing. I'm working on that, and I'm going over these kings of Judah, and it's interesting to me. It's a word for us today because in 2 Chronicles 22:7, you've got this wicked king Ahaziah in Judah. And he's going along with with the practices of the kings of Israel, Ahab. He's setting up high places in Judah, just like his father Jehoram had done. And Jehoram was married to one of Ahab's daughters, and so that woman was now Ahaziah's mother, and she influenced him, and it tells that. But it says. Okay, so he had allied with Joram of Israel, who was Ahab's son. And so he was just going along with all the wickedness that this wicked king Ahab and his wife Jezebel, you remember, had been involved in his reign. So, but he was going along, and he was allying with Joram of Israel. And he went down to see Joram because Joram had been wounded in this battle that they had fought together against Syria. And it says in verse 7, 2 Chronicles 22, his going to Joram was God's occasion for Ahaziah's downfall. For when he arrived, he went out with Joram against Jehu, the son of Nimshi, whom the Lord had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. So it happened when Jehu was executing judgment on the house of Ahab. He found the princes of Judah, the leaders of Judah. That would have been of Ahaziah's group, and the sons of Ahaziah's brothers, Ahaziah's nephews, who served Ahaziah, and he killed them. And then he searched for Ahaziah, and he found him, and he killed him, and they buried him. Now, my point being, his going to Joram was God's occasion for Ahaziah's downfall. We don't know what God is doing behind the scenes. My pastor, Larry Randolph, spoke this week about lots of things, but it was a great, if you go to Paytonsville Baptist Church, you'll see it in Franklin, Tennessee. He talked about our nation, and I've said this actually myself, said, how is God going to let our nation be destroyed? There are more than 10 people here praying and interceding, and God told Abraham, Sodom, if I can find 10 righteous, I won't destroy it. He couldn't. You think there's not 10 righteous in America, and more, way more? We got thousands on these prayer calls that I'm in sometimes. Yeah, God, this nation has sent his word all over the globe. This nation, we are crying out for his salvation. We don't know what is God's occasion to destroy the wicked and to save the righteous. Just saying. We don't know what God's doing behind the scenes. Be encouraged in Jesus' name.